Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching VSO. It's great to be back as always. And today's gonna be a fun one because I have no idea how this one's gonna turn out today. So we'll start off with some generalizations. So first one, pistol ammunition runs dirtier than rifle ammunition. And again, there are exceptions out there, but generally speaking, that is a factual statement. Second generalization, rifle ammunition has higher chamber pressures, higher velocities, and generally just heats everything up faster. Again, there are exceptions out there, but that is another factual statement. If you take those two things and put a suppressor in between them, you get statements from folks like, if you have a pistol suppressor that is rated for rifle ammunition, then you can run rifle ammunition through it before you leave the range for the day and it will clean it. I have no idea. I have my thoughts about that, but I don't really know because I've never actually tested it, and I'm also the worst person on the planet to be stating these things because generally speaking, I don't clean my crap. Okay, so particularly my suppressor. So what I have done is I have devised a test that I've been working on for a couple months now. This is a whip machine suppressor. It's a 5.56 suppressor, but you can also shoot 22 out of it, obviously, right? And this is another one. So out of this one here, I have run exclusively 22 ammunition, which is, as far as pistol ammunition is concerned, the dirtiest. And then, keeping track of the amount of rounds, on the same guns, we put another whip machine suppressor and ran the same amount of ammunition through the same guns through this can. But before we left for the day, in each iteration, we would shoot a magazine of 5.56 through this one. So the question is, does it make any difference whatsoever? Let's go to the shop and find out. I realized I didn't do a very good job in the intro. Those are Whip Machine Mod 1 suppressors, and those are obviously the 5.56 variants. They have them in a couple different configurations, but it is probably my favorite K configuration 5.56 suppressor that's available. Super cost effective, realistic materials. I really like the rear end mounts that they incorporate into their design, and all around really great group to work with, those folks at Whip Machine. I also use one of their 9mm variants on my 350 Legend, my hunting rifle, and does a fantastic job on that. So, yeah, we've got several videos on the Mod 1 suppressors from Whip Machine. I'll have those videos listed in all the relevant places. A couple of things I want to fill in before we go down and crack those cans open. The first is, there's really two things at play here. The first is raw round count, which you guys get, but there's a little bit of nuance there, and then iterations. So we know that if you shoot a can and then let it sit for a week and then shoot it again, that those deposits are going to build up faster because those deposits have an opportunity to like solidify and form a structure. And then the next iteration layers that up on there. So we didn't want to shoot all the ammunition all at once. So raw round count, 600 rounds, just north of 600 rounds on both of those suppressors. And I didn't want to go like super crazy with it because I feel like diminishing returns at some point. After a certain point, a big black mass looks like a big butt. You guys get what I'm saying. So I didn't want to go super crazy to just completely cake it up. I feel like at this point in time, we probably have something to look at least. And if I'm wrong, then we'll just keep right on going. Haha. Cleaning and maintenance. That's totally what we're about here today. So I have the cans here in front of you. And just so that everybody's playing with the same deck, this is the can that we ran 22 only through, and I've painted it. and etched 22 only in it there. You can see. And this is the one that we ran 5.56 and 22 through. So for the sake of convention today, this is the 22 can and this is the 5.56 can. Even though they're both 5.56 cans, that's just how we're going to denote them today for the sake of brevity. So the only other thing I would like to point out is that I have also put witness marks on the front there, on the tube and the core. So I can tell which core goes with this one and which core goes with that one after I get them apart. The only thing that I've done in preparation for this today, outside of, obviously all the range time, is I have loosened the rock set here so that I can get them apart by hand. And let's go ahead and, well, actually, before we get there, what I would like to point out is at the very front, the first thing that we see here is that there is a difference in what we can see at the very front. This one has more of a darker shade at the front there. You can see that it's darker there. And this one has kind of more of like a coppery color to it. Like some kind of copper salt has distributed itself on the front of that core. So let's go ahead and take a look. Moment of reveal. It's actually cleaner than I thought it was going to be. Okay. We can see a little bit of buildup here on the sides. And I will have close-ups for you guys of this. And the tube, I'm going to have to get a flashlight in there and show you guys what that looks like. But it definitely mirrors the pattern. You can tell that seals pretty well against the tube. Time for the reveal. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but a substantial amount of debris fell out of that. And this is much dirtier. Much dirtier. So, yeah, look, there's just chunks falling out of that. And I don't... It's metallic. I would call this definitively busted, folks. Like, this can is substantially dirtier than this one is. And it's supposed to work the other way around. Like, without even any close-ups, you can see that the coloration there is different. And what I would say about that is what that must mean is, even though, so these had the same amount of dirt run through them as in the same amount of 22 run through them. So we would expect them to be comparable as far as the dirt level in there if rifle ammo cleaned it. I see that this one is dirtier. So that means that the volume of ammunition that we ran through this must be the contributing factor here. So the rifle ammunition contributed substantially to the fouling in this can. As far as the deposits are concerned, I would say, I'm just going to test this really quick. Okay, there's mobility in those deposits. And there's mobility in these deposits as well. But I wouldn't say that there's any substantial differentiation between the two. Let me go down here to maybe a little bit dirtier area. And yeah, there's no difference between those. So, boys and girls, I would say, in fact, I would say that down there, not having just done that, maybe you guys will be able to see this on that camera view. Yeah, I would argue that these deposits are more solidified than these ones. These are kind of like a dusting. So if I take my... that's not quite accurate. Like, I took my glove and I went like that, right? And you can see that there's still, like, deposits on that surface. But if I take this spatula, I can obviously scrape them off. If I go over to this one and do the same thing, didn't move really anything at all. But if I do this, then I can chip it off still. But I have to do less work to this over here to chip that off. Like, just doing that right there is moving that stuff off. If But if I, sorry about that. But if I come over here, like, it's doing that less. So I would argue that actually the higher pressures and temperatures of the rifle can that are supposed to be cleaning contribute to the fouling in that they more heavily solidify the deposits in the can than if you're running something that's lower pressure. So anyway, I'm going to call this myth definitively busted. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below.